so forth. In Revelation 16, when the vials of God's wrath are poured out, and the second angel poured out his vial upon the sea, and it became blood as of a dead man, and every living soul died in the sea. Now here with the trumpet, it's 1/3 that is turned to blood, and 1/3 die. But in the final pouring out of the vials of God's wrath, the sea itself turns to blood, and all of the life forms within the sea die. In verse 10, the third angel sounded. There fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp. It fell upon a third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of water. Now, in the vials that are poured out in 16, verse 8, and your pardon is in 16, verse 4. The third angel poured out his vial upon the rivers and fountains of water, and they became blood. So we find that, again, the first or the second hits the sea, and the third hits the fresh water supplies of the earth. Can you imagine? No, you can't. What it will be like when a third part, and then, of course, all of the rivers in chapter 16 become as blood, and you can't drink the water. We do know that in the plagues back in Egypt, that the Nile River was turned to blood for a time, and the people tried to dig into the sand around the river to get sort of a filter water, but going to be a tough thing. Verse 12, well, actually verse 10, third angel sounded, there was a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell on a third part of the rivers, fountains of waters. And the name of the star is called wormwood. And a third part of the waters become wormwood, that is bitter, and not able to drink them. The fourth angel sounded. A third part of the sun was smitten, third part of the moon, a third part of the stars, so that as a third part of them was darkened, the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise. Sort of a dim out, where the sun only shines as a third part, and the moon also, and the stars. So trying to sort of imagine what the response and the reaction of the people will be upon the earth with these strange phenomena taking place in the universe. He said, I beheld and I heard an angel flying through the midst of the heaven, and he says with a loud voice, woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth by reason of the other voices of the trumpets of the three angels which are yet to sound. So we have the first four of the trumpets. Now on this fourth one, the angel sounds it, and a third part of the sun is smitten, third part of the moon. It is affecting the solar system. In Revelation 16:8, the corresponding vial, when the fourth angel pours out his vial upon the sun, power was given unto him to scorch men with fire. Now this is a dimming of the sun, but on the fourth vial, it would appear that the sun will go into a supernova. Now we understand a little bit about supernovas. We know that when stars are about to go out, that they go into this supernova. and they become intensely bright. And usually there are supernovas that are visible through telescopes throughout our universe, where stars just sort of, well, have you ever seen when a light bulb is broken, how that when the oxygen hits the filament, it gets real bright before the filament is broken, and then it goes out. And so with the supernova, the stars get extremely bright, and then they go out. We just can't see them anymore. And so it would seem that in the fourth vial that the sun turns into a supernova, and power was given him to scorch men with fire. And men were scorched with great heat, and they blasphemed the name of God, which had power over these plagues, and they repented not to give him glory. As we mentioned this morning, we are surprised always at how hard a man can harden his heart to the things of God. Here you would think, when God is bringing these kind of judgments, that people would be crying out for mercy, that people would be repenting and calling upon God to have mercy upon them. But instead, their hearts are so hardened that they actually are blaspheming God, as we will get in the end of the sixth trumpet judgment there in chapter 9. So going into chapter 9, when the fifth angel sounded, I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace. And the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power as a scorpion of the earth. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass, or the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads. And it was given that they should not kill them, but they should be tormented for 5 months. The torment is as the torment of a scorpion when he strikes a man. And in those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, desire to die, but death shall flee from them. And he describes the shapes of the locusts were like horses prepared unto battle. Their heads were like crowns of gold, and in their faces were as the faces of men, and hair like the hair of a woman, and teeth as the teeth of lions. And he goes on to describe them. We'll get to that again. But in getting to this description of the fifth trumpet judgment, this key to the bottomless pit, it is really the abuso, the bottomless pit. The Bible speaks about the abuso. There is Hades, the abode of the unrighteous dead at the present time. And then there is Tartarus, and we don't have too much knowledge about Tartarus. But then there is this abuso, or abyss. And it seems to be a shaft somewhere between the surface of the earth and the heart of the earth. You remember when Jesus was at Gadara, there was a demon-possessed man. And Luke describes the situation in chapter 8. It said, and when he went forth to land, There met him out of a certain city a man which